If you've ever lived abroad, or even if you've just traveled and stayed in a foreign place for a few days, you've probably noticed that some of the local habits and customs start to rub off on you. I'm Cecile, and welcome to my channel From Canada to Adana. Today I'm going to tell you about 5 habits that I've picked up living here in Turkey. But first, before we dive in, please don't forget to like this video if you find that it teaches you something interesting, and subscribe as well if you want to be the first to hear about new videos. Let's get started. Habit number 1, taking your shoes off in the house. Now, I'm not saying Turkish people are the only people who do this, but growing up in Toronto and the suburbs surrounding Toronto, we did not always take our shoes off in the house, and it really varied from family to family. There were some people whose houses I'd go to visiting friends or, whatever, and everyone would just wear their shoes in their house, and then there would be other families who had a strict no shoes in the house policy, and it really varied from family to family. But I have yet to meet anyone in Turkey who keeps their shoes on in the house. Turkish people take it a step further. They offer you slippers when you arrive at someone's house. And I, for example, love to go around barefoot or in sock feet. But anybody's house that I go into, they really insist on giving me a pair of some kind of house shoe, whether it's sort of like a slip-on thing or a more, classic winter slipper kind of thing. I think the reason for this tradition in Turkey is because Turkish streets are not very clean. They are also often dusty. So between the dust, possibly mud, and definitely undesirable things on the sidewalk, everything from leaking garbage to goodness knows what, diesel fumes, it's understandable that people don't want to track that into their homes. And I'm now at the point where when I travel back to Canada, and even if I go to someone's house where they're like, oh no, just keep your shoes on, I feel a bit strange keeping my shoes on in the house. And to take that even one step further, I'm okay walking on bare floors with shoes on, but I cannot step on a carpet. Turkish people won't even walk on carpets with their house shoes on. So within a house, they'll wear those house shoes I mentioned on the bare floor, but then the minute they come to a carpeted area of a room, they'll leave their house shoes at the edge of the carpet and continue on in sock feet or stocking feet or bare feet, whatever the case may be. And the biggest habit that surprised me that I took away when I go home to Canada and I visit my parents, for example, I cannot wear shoes on a carpet. Okay, my second new habit living in Turkey is showering at night. Growing up in Canada, myself included, everyone I knew has a shower every morning habit. Some people wake up and hop right in the shower. Some people go for a workout and then shower. But showering in the morning and going to work or getting on with the activities of your day, having freshly showered that's the North American culture, I assume. At least that's the culture I know. But living in Turkey, I noticed that not only me, but other people too tend to take their shower at night. Now, this is not a hard and fast rule, but generally I think maybe other European countries as well, people are more likely to shower at night rather than in the morning. I think one reason for this might be having less hot water available on demand. Most people in Turkey heat their hot water through solar panels on the roof, which is great. It's so environmentally friendly. But the result of that is that the water is hottest at the end of the day after the solar panels and of course the hot water tanks that sit on the roof in many cases have been heated up from the sun all day. But in the morning, there's maybe less hot water, or at least then the hot water isn't replenishable. I'm just kind of guessing here, but it seems like a logical explanation. Now, we don't heat our hot water personally in my family with solar panels. We have natural gas powered hot water heater, I guess, a boiler of some sort. But even still, the kids and my husband and I, we shower at night. Another reason for that is, again, I mentioned with my previous point, the streets aren't very clean. I think just in generally, the air isn't as clean in Turkey as it is in Canada. There isn't as much greenery, there's dust, there's air pollution, and I get the feeling that if I come home after a long day, or even if I've just been, I don't know, out in the garden, I kind of feel like I want to wash the day off me at the end of the day. I definitely don't want to crawl into a nice, cozy, clean bed with the dirt of the day on me. And I extend that to my kids. I want them to sort of like take a shower or a bath at the end of the day before putting on some clean pajamas and getting into bed. So that's a habit that has rubbed off on me, and that, I don't know, like I see myself sticking with that habit. It works for me. I like it. So before I continue with habit number 3, I just wanted to mention, if you've ever thought of maybe going abroad, you can take my free downloadable expat readiness quiz. You can get it on my website, cecilepop.com/expat readiness, or you can just click on the link before. And I think it's a fun little journaling exercise to see if maybe having a stint abroad, short-term or long-term, might be something for you. So this leads me to my third point, and this is language-based. Now, if you've ever studied linguistics or maybe even just learned a foreign language yourself, you've probably noticed that culture influences language just as language influences culture. So in Turkish, there are some wonderful expressions that I think reflect the spirit of the culture, and these expressions don't exist in English, and I find them almost untranslatable. So the first one is kolay gelsin, which translates to may it go easily, or may it just pass easily. This is an expression you say to someone who's working. And I just find this a lovely expression. I think back to what I used to say in my former life in Canada, and I don't think there was an equivalent. I think I just said nothing, or maybe I'd say to someone, have a good day at work, good luck with that, good luck with your work. But all these alternatives really pale in comparison to the Turkish expression kolay gelsin. So really just may whatever it is you're busy doing right now go easily for you. The other really lovely expression I find in Turkish is health to your hands, eline sağlık, or ellerine sağlık. There's variations of it. And this is something you say to someone after they have either prepared a meal for you or given you a gift that might be handmade, again, edible or otherwise. It could also be if someone, a work person has, done something for you around your house. I don't know, like built you a piece of furniture or, fixed your plumbing. You can always also say this. So anytime someone's done something to you beyond a thank you, I think in English we probably just say thank you. There's this extra thing that Turkish people say, which is really appreciating the fact that this is something this person did with their hands. And I know my kids love to say this to people. We'll be walking down the street and they just see it to people. They say it to people they see working in a store or, just doing something. My kids will just say it in passing. Whereas, in Toronto, which is a relatively friendly city, you might just say hello to some random person. Here you can actually say, kolay gelsin or eline sağlık to someone who is doing something, and you're either wanting to appreciate the fruit of their labors or just, wishing them, a good day with their work. I find now when I'm back in an English-speaking environment, I sometimes feel like I want to say something, but there's nothing to say. So there are now situations I'm aware of where my native language doesn't have the words for it. And by contrast, almost all foreign people that I know in Turkish, let's say we're speaking English to each other, they'll throw in one of these Turkish phrases knowing that the other foreign person also knows it. Just because I think it's almost like an unspoken unanimous agreement that this is something wonderful about the Turkish language and Turkish culture that is not there in our own language and culture. All right, so the fourth habit that I have picked up over the years living in Turkey, and again, not unique to Turkey, but is bringing gifts, not just housewarming gifts, not just host or hostess gifts, but really bringing gifts whenever it's even remotely possible. So just giving people a little token of something. If I'm visiting a girlfriend, I would definitely bring something for her children. I've been on the receiving end of this so many times, it's almost embarrassing. I mean, people just give little gifts for no occasion. And I find now I really like to do that too. It almost just doesn't feel right to go empty-handed. My fifth and final big habit that I've adopted living here that I want to share today is one that I find really lovely, and that is habits around spontaneous socializing. So the idea that, an opportunity to go over to a neighbor's for coffee, or to have them come over, or to have someone knocking on your door turn into coffee. Or, you meet someone out shopping and then you spontaneously say, well, call your wife, call your husband, let's all go to this restaurant. Or, these are just random examples. It's hard to be that flexible with young kids at home. But just that kind of not having to book things necessarily in advance. And in fact, it's hard to book things in advance because the people you're talking to often don't know what they're doing 3 or 4 days from now. So just that, being open to that kind of spontaneous socializing. I've had, really enjoyable afternoons and evenings that were unplanned and that turned into really long visits, either at our place or at someone else's. And there's none of that, oh, but I haven't cooked anything. Oh, but I'm not prepared. Turkish people are really good at just, disappearing into the kitchen and whipping up masterpieces. And, I'm happy to say I've learned to get over any kind of, ideas about being this perfect hostess with my menu planned out in advance and my table all set, and I'm able to just enjoy the spontaneousness and the togetherness without worrying about, okay, well, I've just heated up toast that I took out of the freezer, and chopping up a cheese board kind of thing and some vegetables and olives and sun-dried tomatoes, and there you go. Like I no longer need to do a special entertaining shopping trip. I can just whip some stuff out and really enjoy the visit. All right, so there you have it, 5 habits that I've developed living here in Turkey. If you've ever lived in Turkey or somewhere else, maybe a Mediterranean country, or maybe another country entirely, what habits have you picked up living there? Let me know in the comments below. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, please give it the thumbs up. It really helps this video get discovered by more people. And don't forget to subscribe so that you'll be notified as soon as my next video comes out, probably a week from now. Have a great day. Bye.